Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am the Oscar-nominated A-hole, and if you are one of my fellow followers and subscribers, you are also one of my fellow A-holes. And if you are not a part of that, please do subscribe to get more content. Now, as we all know, we have been following Brie Larson and her absolute utter negativity for the several past couple of days and weeks and months. Let's just be honest, it's been a while. But let's take a moment to, talk and touch on Captain Marvel, but let's be positive. Let's have a positive video for the day. I think we've had a little bit too much negativity. I always say at the end of my videos, let's not be like Brie Larson, and I think to do that, we can't be as negative as Brie Larson. We need a little positivity. So, as many of you also know, there has been a gigantic boycotting Captain Marvel. Do not go see Captain Marvel, they all say, and I highly agree. I am one of these fellow people who do not want to go see it, and therefore I will not go see it. I'm not endorsing it, but if you are one of those people who also, like me, say, I don't really want to spend my money on this agenda-driven bullshit, then follow me, and let us talk about 5 movies that I think are a way better use of your time than wasting 2 hours at Captain Whammon. So, number 5, and by the way, these movies are going to be pretty obscure. These movies really don't get talked about a lot on YouTube. I've always tried to look up reviews for them, and they're not really there. So I wanted to do them. 4 of them are actually older movies, and one of them is a newer movie. So I guess that's the way you could look at it. So number 5 is actually a movie that a lot of you probably have heard about, and if you were born and raised in the 90s or earlier, you have probably definitely watched this film, and that is none other than The Mask of Zorro. And The Mask of Zorro has Antonio Banderas and, of course, Catherine Zeta-Jones. Oh, does it have Catherine Zeta-Jones? It definitely does. And this movie is basically a man who's down on his luck and therefore becomes a trained swordsman under the original wearer of the Mask of Zorro, and he fights and wins the heart of former Zorro's daughter, and he saves Mexico. So, that's basically it. But it's a very nice and touching tale, lots of romance, lots of passion, excellent choreography and sword fights. It's just a great movie all around. Now, number 4 is definitely a movie that, if you have not watched it, why not? Also, this movie is a Disney film, so if you want to watch a Disney film that actually was good because it came out during the days that Disney wasn't a monopoly, please do watch this film, and that is The Three Musketeers. Now, if you've never watched The Three Musketeers, again, where have you been? The Three Musketeers, I think, is probably one of my favorite Disney movies. A lot of Disney movies that are live action are regarded as absolute garbage, but this one's actually like really, really good. And when I say live action, most of their live action Disney films are like really cheesy films. But this one's not. This actually has a very good story, a good romance, deep characters. I mean, very deep characters. And there's like a suicide that they show on the screen. Wow, whew, I miss those Disney days. Anyways, this is definitely a worthwhile watch, and the only reason why I put it on here is because it's a little bit more obscure than Mask of Zorro. Now, number 2 and number 3, these were a little bit too hard for me to decide which should go over the other, so the deciding factor was which one I've seen the most. So, number 3 is the one that I've watched the least of, but I can't deny it's on the same quality level as number 2, and that is Les Miserables. No, not that one. The real Les Miserables. The Les Miserables from the 1990s with Liam Neeson and Jeffrey Rush and Uma Thurman. Now, if you haven't watched this film, oh my god. I'm not a big fan of Les Mis, mostly because it's the giant sing-along opera. It's not an opera, it's just a long sing-along. But I don't like it. I never really have. I never really got the story, the crazy dramatic music. I mean, they were singing like hello, good day, goodbye. You don't need to sing that, just say it. And then my dad was like, hey, they have a Les Miserables version where they don't sing at all. And I was like, can we watch it? So my dad got it, and we watched it, and I fell in love with Les Miserables. It has Liam Neeson, who plays Monsieur le Maire, which I believe means Mr. Mayor, and he plays the main character, Jean Valjean, And of course, we have Jeffrey Rush, who plays the evil antagonist. Don't know his name off the top of my head. Nonetheless, it is a fantastic film. Great characters, great character arcs. I mean, you feel for Liam Neeson in this movie, man. And you know what? To be honest, you kind of feel for Jeffrey Rush's character too. You kind of understand where he's coming from in some scenarios, and you're like, you know what? I could kind of see where he's coming from. It's a fantastic movie. Even my girlfriend, who does not like stuff like Les Mis, and when I told her, hey, you should watch Les Mis, this one's like really good, it has some music, she was like, oh, I don't really want to. And then we watched it, and at the end of it, she was like, I really like that movie. and so we talked about Les Mis all the rest of that day. So it's a fantastic movie. Really should give it a watch. Now, number 2 is a movie that has become a part of tradition in my household. Something that if you are a dear friend of ours, we will eventually ask you, have you watched this film? And if you say no, you're watching the film. We don't care. We're putting it in and you're sitting down and watching it. Because it's such a good movie. It is so good. And that is The Count of Monte Cristo. When I first watched this movie, I was a little boy, and I didn't get all the themes, but I liked it. Even as a child with a non-fully developed brain, I was still able to grasp the large themes that work within this cinematic marvel piece. And when I grew up, and actually every year that I do grow up, I watch it, I just find more layers and more depth and more understanding, and I can relate to it, and it becomes more passionate. And since I was a kid being raised up on it, it also has that nostalgia factor. So it almost becomes more worthy and more cherishable every time that I watch it. Definitely go see this movie. Go rent it, buy it. I'm considering buying it on Blu-ray. Same with Les Mis. These movies are worth it. I think they're like less than $10 or roughly $10 on Amazon each on Blu-ray. Please go get these movies. Both of them together, price of one ticket to Captain Marvel. No popcorn or soda included. And believe me, these movies, there are so much better, higher quality content. I know what you're saying, you haven't seen Captain Marvel, how can you possibly say that? It has Liam freaking Neeson, Jeffrey Rush, and Count of Monte Cristo is a classic. How could you compare that to Captain Marvel? No, you can't. Anyways, so my number one pick is a movie that actually came out in 2017. I have mentioned it a couple times in videos, and it is a highly underrated movie, one that I've seen maybe two people give a review on. The few people that I did overwhelmingly gave negative, and interestingly enough, Chris Stuckman, someone I don't really agree with on any movies, actually gave it a fair and good, decent review. And I was like expecting him to totally trash it, and he was like, and his first words were, I think this film's kind of special. And he talked about how it's original, and a lot of films aren't nowadays. And that movie is A Cure for Wellness. This film was so good. Is so good. I watched it in theaters when it first came out. And when I did, I was in awe. I left the theater dumbfounded by how wonderful it was. How creepy, eerie, how it just violated you mentally, but in a good way. And it was everything that I could hope for. My girlfriend left it with me, and she said she hated the movie, and I left saying, I absolutely have to own this on Blu-ray as soon as it comes out. The sad thing is for some reason, the week after that, my theater in my town took it down. They didn't show it anymore because I wanted to go back and see it again. But it got taken down. I got really mad. And then I told her, I said, well, hopefully they release it on Blu-ray. But when the week came and they had it released out on DVD and Blu-ray, I went to my local Target, and sure enough, there it was under new releases, just waiting for me. And I grabbed one and I had to buy it, went home, put it in. It was so good. And it still is. Oh my gosh. This movie stars Dane DeHaan. And Dane DeHaan has been an actor for me who's basically been okay. But after this movie, he has become one of my favorite actors. I'm sorry, he just has. This film is so good. If you've never seen this film and are like, okay, I'm gonna go on this guy's word and try check it out. If you have surround sound, when you play this movie, amp it up. I mean, turn it all the way up. Because every little noise just gets under your skin on certain scenes, and it just, it's so good. And plus, the themes in it is really good. I heard one guy say that the theme is basically becoming a corporate slave and how it just ruins you. Disney. And then it's just such a great film, basically of teaching you, like, don't be a dick. That's really a good majority of the film is just don't be a dick. But then the other part of it has a lot to do with what they call being sick, which is sick of the mind more so than anything else. It takes place in an asylum, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's a common movie trope. No, it's done in ways you would not believe. Now some of you might be skeptical and be like, really, Oscar-nominated a-hole? If that's the case, do the people go insane inside of the mental facility? They do go a tad bit insane, but they don't go insane the way that you think. And I don't want to spoil it, but I will quickly state, they don't bite your heads off or kill you or cannibalize you or, do like blood rituals or something like that. It's nothing crazy. It's just, it's weird and strange what they do. Anyways, if you have not seen any of these movies, tell me down below if you are willing to watch one, if you are going to, or if you're like, I'm intrigued, I might consider it. Or if we've watched one of these or all of them, please let me know what you thought about them. I'd definitely love to hear your opinions, especially Cure for Wellness. But the other ones too. And as always, if you haven't joined the Oscar-nominated A-Hole Alliance Army, whatever they call it, please do sign up. When I say sign up, I mean press the subscribe button. Like this video if you liked it. I hope you did. And comment below your thoughts and your opinions, and we can talk some about some movies that are better, most likely, than Captain Whammon.